Hello everyone, this is part 19 of What If Naruto Was Iron Man, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
When Naruto awoke the next day, he found the restraints had been taken off and that he could get up. After using the bathroom and taking a quick shower, he was just about to sit down on the bed when the door to his room opened and an eep was heard, causing him to turn and see Tenten standing there blushing, and Naruto said, "Sorry about that. I wasn't expecting company." Tenten walked in and asked, "Why are you only in your boxes?" Naruto said, "Because I just got out of the shower and didn't feel like putting on another hospital gown." Tenten nods and said, "I see you still hiding the power core." Naruto said, "Yeah. So, what's up?" Tenten blinked and said, "Oh, I made this for you," as she pulled out a scroll and unsummoned a blue cloak with white flames across the bottom and the new Senju design on the back. Naruto's eyes got wide and said, "It's beautiful, thank you, Tenten. How much do I owe you?" Tenten said, "Nothing. So when do you get out?" Naruto said, "Today sometime. At least I'm supposed to." Tenten said, "That's good. My team have the day off because we starting to take missions outside of the village again tomorrow." Naruto groaned and said, "Don't remind me, with the teams already selected and half the village wanting me to be their apprentice, I don't know what to do." A shushin in the room made both Tenten and Naruto look and see Riku standing there and both glare at her, and she said, "Hey, don't go hating me. I know you're both upset, but I had a good reason for getting him to come here. He wasn't going to fight Naruto, just brag like most bad guys do to make everyone know how great they were. Naruto was the one who decided to piss him off." Naruto said, "Well, sorry. I mean, I was only facing the team who ruined my life." Riku said, "Oh, I know he made the first half of your life hell, but if he didn't, then you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't have been pissed off at your sensei enough for my creator to give me to you or for you or anything that happened after that. Think about it. If he didn't do what he did, then odds are you would be just like Sasuke and Konohamaru." Naruto looked at Tenten and said, I know where you get it from," causing both Riku and Tenten to laugh. After they settled down and Riku said, "Anyways, I talked to the Hokage and your uncle for you, and I reached an agreement that seemed to make everyone happy and I believe will make you happy as well." Naruto said, "Oh, and what is this deal and why didn't you talk to me about it first?" Riku said, "Because I'm the only person who knows what skills you currently have as well as the skills that you can learn quickly to become stronger to protect your precious people. Now as for the deal, it's simple really. For the next week your uncle will teach you to use your bloodline before he has to return to Lightning Country, and he will leave behind a couple of scrolls for you. Asuma Sarutobi, your uncle, wishes to help you out with your wind elemental training as well as teaching you how to augment your weapons with it, so he's going to give you some scrolls on how to do it that you can read and go over, seeing as he's the only wind element in the village besides you. He has his own team, so he can't teach you personally, but he can give you hints and help if you need it." Naruto thought a moment and said, "All right, that seems fair. What about the rest of my training and missions?" Riku said, "For the next 3 months you have off from doing any missions to train in your bloodline as well as settling into the Nadime's estates. Since you're making a fresh start, that will be the perfect place for you to start to live, as well as since the Nadime's library is there, so you can learn some water jutsu to help with your bloodline as well. With your permission, I will be living with you as well, and I will repair the place and set up some extra security around the place to help protect you and your future family. During the next 3 months, every other weekend you will spend half a day with your grandfather, who will spar with you and teach you what he can and give you advice. The rest of the time you have to work on your own training, but you will have to spend 3 days a week training with Team Guy." Tenten blinked and asked, "Why my team? Not that I'm complaining." Riku said, "Because of the agreement that was worked up with Ichigo. He has wrote down both his taijutsu as well as the taijutsu that Kushina used and the style he gained from marring the Raikage sister. He will give the scrolls to Naruto tomorrow when they start training in his bloodline, and Naruto can use the 3 taijutsu to build his own style. With the help of Guy and his Kagebunshin, he should be able to make his own unique style that is unpredictable like him. He will also work on his kenjutsu skills with you since I explained that you both have a unique weapons like the Raijin so that you can learn to use them properly as well. Between Guy, Lee, and you Naruto should be able to increase in his skills until his new teammates arrive. Both Tenten and Naruto blinked and asked at the same time, what new teammates? Riku said, oh, you're going to love this. Something I didn't tell you about until I could arrange it was I got a message to Zabuza and Haku. Naruto eyes widen and asked, how? Riku said, remember I took over all of Gato operations, both legal and illegal. I sent a message through the underworld about a job I want done and who I wanted to hire for the job to make sure it is done correctly. I met with Zabuza and Haku and arranged a second meeting in 1 month time at which time Jiraiya will meet me at the place Zabuza agreed to and he will have a scroll from the Hokage about amnesty. I already talked with the Hokage and after I informed him that Zabuza only became a missing nin after he discovered what Madara was doing to the land of water and tried to stop him. If Zabuza will agree to a small probation period of 2 months he will allow Zabuza to become your Junin sensei along with Haku as your teammate. Naruto said, so Nobrow's going to be my sensei with Haku, hopefully. But what about my third teammate? Riku said, the other teammate will be someone who will balance out your weakness. Haku is wind, water, and ice like you with medical knowledge and you with wind, water and ice along with kenjutsu, ninjutsu. The other genin however is going to be an earth and fire element. She graduated last year from what I was told. Tenten blinked and said, really, who? Riku said, her name's Shiho. Tenten said, hey, I remember her, not much of a front-line fighter but she's brilliant. Brown hair and brown eyes, sort of plain looking besides the fact she wears glasses. Physically I think she was 5th strongest kunoichi of my class but when it come to book work she was 1st and 3rd in kunoichi classes. Naruto asked, where were you if you don't mind me asking? Tenten blushed and said, 1st in physical, 2nd in books and 11th in kunoichi, as she looked away. Naruto was silent and Tenten turned and glared at him and said, don't, I think it's an insult they made us do flower arranging and tea ceremony. I set an exploding tag off in my tea set and used the flowers as target practice. Naruto said, relax Tenshi. I wasn't making fun of you. I think you're right. Tenten eyes got wide as her face turned completely red and asked, why did you call me Tenshi? Naruto rubbed his head and said, well your name is Tenten and you dream to prove kunoichi can be just as strong as shinobi so I thought I'd give you a nickname that would show not only what your name is but also what your dream is. Tenten and shinobi. Tenshi, besides anyone who's seen you use that twin rising dragon thinks you look like an angel right before you turn into the Shinigami and kill their ass. Tenten slugged him lightly in the arm and said, jerk, with a smile on her face. Naruto said, so anyways, what can you tell me about her actual skills? I fought Haku so I know his skills somewhat. Tenten said, yeah, he probably could give me a run for my money on accuracy from what I saw of him in battle. Riku said, well like I said she's got both a fire and earth element. She has above average chakra control, her reserves are actually bigger than Tenten but smaller than Neji. She has some genjutsu skills but most of her skills are in code cracking and information gathering. She's a sensor type ninja also as she can detect chakra signatures for up to a half mile. Tenten asked, why isn't she already on a team? Riku said, because she been apprenticing under a chunin in the code cracker department who retiring because she had a baby. The Sandaime thought that with her support skills, Haku medical skills and Naruto combat skills that they would balance each other out until they made chunin and not overpower them. Tenten asked, what kind of team are they going to be? I mean I know that Team 8 under Kurenai is going to be a scout team and Team 10 under Asuma is a capture and information gathering and my team is a assault team. Riku said, Team 13 is going to be a first response team. Go in, access the situation giving medical care if needed and deal with the problem or call for backup. Naruto asked, what about Team 7? What happened to Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi? Riku said, well, as she looked at Tenten. Naruto saw the look and asked, what? Tenten said, Sasuke Uchiha left the village last night. Nobody found any traces of where he went. We know it's not Takumo because the Raikage doesn't trust the Uchiha and being the brother-in-law to your uncle won't accept him out of fear of what Ichigo will do. He's been declared AD rank missing nin and to be brought back alive if possible. Naruto said, idiot, so what about Sakura? Riku said, Sakura has lost her way and doesn't know what to believe in anymore. Naruto sighed and looked back at the ceiling and sighed and said, damn it, this isn't supposed to be this way. Tenten asked, what's wrong Naruto, why are you upset? Naruto said, Sakura, she's good. She just needed someone to light the fire under her ass to get her going. Konoha needs her. Tenten blinked and said, whoa, I thought you hated her, or at least that was one of the rumors I heard. Naruto sighed and said, she saved my life after Orochimaru beat me. We were fighting in the Forest of Death during the Chunin exams and he attacked us, and after sealing off Kyuubi chakra and knocking me out, he threw me against a tree and the fall from as high as we were would have killed me. Later she took on a team sent by Orochimaru to finish us off alone. She wound up losing, but she bought us enough time until others could arrive to save us while both Sasuke and me were out cold thanks to Orochimaru. I promised her mom, who accepted me after I saved the village, I would protect her if I could. Tenten said, I remember seeing her in action at the Chunin exam stadium. She was actually pretty good with her genjutsu and medical skills. Naruto blinked and said, medical, HMM. Tenten asked, what? Naruto said, Tsunade took Sakura as her part-time apprentice because Sakura appeared to be perfect for the job. You got anything planned today? Tenten said, just spending time with you since we might not see each other much. Naruto said, want to help me spread the flames of youth in a fellow kunoichi? Tenten gave him a deadpan look and said, do that again and I will make sure you're the last Senju. Naruto gulped and said, right. Let me get some cloths. Tenten said, here. I got you some regular cloths since mom told me all you had were shinobi outfits. Put 'em on and we can go talk to this Sakura girl. As she pulled out a scroll and tossed it to him and quickly turned around. Naruto said, thanks, as he went to the bathroom and got changed. When he walked back out, Tenten began to drool and she thought, hot damn. Look at that ass. And Naruto asked, what? Tenten smiled and said, nothing, here put your new coat on. As she handed the coat she made him on and looked at the tight blue jeans and skin-tight red shirt he had on. Naruto slipped it on and Riku said, shouldn't you check out first? Naruto said, damn, didn't think about that. As he looked defeated as he saw the look that promised pain from Tenten if he didn't. After checking out and getting a look of shock from the nurse seeing how he was dressed, Naruto and Tenten left while Riku went to deal with some other task. As they walked through the village, Naruto thought, this is weird seeing people looking at me like that. Tenten eyebrow was twitching and thought, I think you got a fan club now and just act normal. Be yourself and screw the rest of the world. Naruto smiled and they were about to turn the corner down the road where Sakura lived when a girl's voice said, excuse me Naruto-kun. Naruto blinked, not recognizing the voice, and said, yes, as he looked at the girl who was about 3 years older than him. The girl said, I was wondering if you might be free for lunch. Before Naruto could say anything, Tenten linked her arm through Naruto and put her head on his shoulder and said, I'm sorry but my boyfriend and I already have plans for the day, with a smile and a twinkle in her eye. The girl glared at Tenten and said, why would you want to be with a flat-chested slut like her when, as she was forced to leap back from a right hook. Tenten had already leaped at the girl as Naruto tried to hold her back as Tenten screamed, let me go, I'm going to kill this bitch. Naruto thought, fuck, I think she's got Tsunade super strength. I need to calm her down, but how? As an idea came to his mind and thought, please don't kill me. As he let go of one of Tenten's arms, causing her to lose her balance slightly, but Naruto spun her around and quickly grabbed her face with both hands and smashed his lips to hers, making Tenten freeze, and her eyes were wide in shock and slowly closed her eyes as she put her arms on his chest as Naruto lowered his arms down her back and pulled her close. Several cat calls and looks of anger and jealousy was shot their way, and as they broke the kiss, Naruto looked into her eyes and Tenten said, I think we're flying again. Naruto smiled and let her go, and Tenten looked around, going red for a moment in embarrassment until she saw the girl she was going to kill a few moments before, and Tenten smirked and said, he's mine, so back off, as she hooked Naruto's arm and began to walk down the road. Naruto, not wanting to be dragged, took step beside her and he said, so? Tenten said, yeah, we need to discuss that later, as she looked away to hide her blush. A couple of minute of walking in comfortable silence, Naruto looked at a 2-story house and said, we're here. Tenten nods and unlinks her arm and both walk over and Naruto reaches for the door and knocks. A few moments later the door opened and Suki stood there and she blinked as she saw Naruto and Tenten and asked, "Can I help you?" as she narrowed her eyes. Tenten quickly said, "Is Sakura home?" Suki said, "Yes she is, who may I ask wants to see her?" Naruto said, "Forgive me for speaking out of place Mrs. Haruno, but you see I have watched Sakura in the academy since she started and I know she's confused right now because of personal reason about what to do with her future and I asked my girlfriend here to come with me to talk to Sakura to try and help her figure out what she wants to do, not because of what others want her to do or what she thinks she's supposed to do but what she wants to do. Sakura has the makings of someone who would be a great medic or nurse or other specialized fields like that with her ability to remember everything she reads as well as her perfect chakra control. I don't want to see her throw all those years of blood, sweat and tears away because of some idiot who couldn't see the strength and beauty of a young lady like your daughter." Suki blinked as did Tenten who was looking at Naruto in shock and Suki, yeah, why don't you both come on inside? Would you like something to drink? Naruto said, "Water will be fine if it's not too much trouble." Suki smiled and said, "No, no trouble. And what about you miss?" Tenten said, "Tenten and water will be fine for me as well." Suki nods and said, "Please have a seat in the living room while I get the water and get Sakura." Both nod and sit down and after she was gone Tenten thought, "What the hell was that?" Naruto thought, "What?" Tenten thought, "You just became someone totally different. You went from being a easy fun-loving guy to a kind-hearted noble in a blink of an eye." Naruto shrugged and thought, "I just said what I thought was best to say." Tenten shook her head as Sakura walked in the room and stopped and Naruto saw Sakura and said, "Hey Sakura, how you doing?" Sakura said, Fine, what are you doing here and who are you?" as she looked at Tenten. Naruto said, "Oh, this is Tenten my girlfriend," causing Sakura's eyes to go wide before she bit her lip and looked down. Tenten said, "Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you. Naruto been telling me how smart and strong of a kunoichi you are and I asked him to bring me over to talk to you." Sakura blinked and said in a disbelieving and partially scared voice, "Really? What did he say?" as she glanced at Naruto. Tenten said, "He told me that you have a photographic memory and perfect chakra control, that you are strong-spirited and got a mean right hook." Sakura blushed and Naruto said, "And her left's not too bad either," with a smile. Sakura said, "Barker," with a smile appearing for a moment. Tenten said, "Yeah, he is but he's also special. But we're not here to talk about him. We came here to talk to you and see what you were planning to do now. We heard a rumor you were thinking about quitting being a kunoichi." Sakura sat down and said, yeah, I was thinking about it." Naruto said, "I think that would be a big mistake Sakura. Why throw away all those years of hard work, sweat, tears, and blood just like that? You could be one of the strongest kunoichi in the village in a few years if you were willing to work for it." Sakura looked down and said, "Why? I don't have any real skills." Tenten said, "If you have even half the skills we mentioned earlier then there are several things you could do to show not only yourself but everyone else how strong you are." Sakura looked up and asked, "Like what?" Naruto said, "Like being a medic or a nurse. With your brains and chakra control you could become the best medic this village has produced in the last 20 years, maybe even becoming better than my Aunt Sunad." Sakura said with some hope in her voice, "You really think so?" Tenten said, "No. I know you can," causing Sakura who was about to crumble under the word no to brighten up. Sakura asked, but, how do I begin? How do I become a medic?" Naruto smiled and said, "I think it's time my grandpa and I had a little talk. Do you have anything you need to do or can you come with us to see the Hokage a few minutes?" Sakura said, "To see the Hokage? Surely he's too busy to see someone like me." Naruto waved his hand and said, "As Hokage you have to see the village as a part of your family and as the head of the family he always has time to listen to his people, besides, you're one of my precious people and I help my precious people any way I can." Sakura said in a shocked voice, "I'm precious to you. Why? I was a total pill to you." Naruto said, "Let's just say that you did me a favor once a long time ago that wound up saving my life and leave it at that." "Alright." Sakura said, "Alright. Let me tell mom I'm leaving and get my shoes," as she got up and quickly left. Tenten looked at Naruto and said, "That was nice of you." Naruto said, "Like I said, she's precious to me, even if she doesn't know it. I made a promise to watch out for her and I always keep my promises. That's my ninja way." In the hall, Suki, who was listening to the conversation, saw Sakura run up the stairs and then heard Naruto and Tenten and thought, "You done more for my daughter than you could ever know, thank you." As she walked back out with the water, and Naruto said, "Oh, forgive us, Mrs. Haruno, but we will have to leave shortly to go see the Hokage, and Sakura going to come with us for a few minutes. I'm sorry about the trouble we caused for the water." Suki said, "That's alright, Naruto-sama. I'm just glad you could help my daughter, and I want to say thank you for helping her, and if you ever need anything, please come by the library and see me." Naruto said, "But I thought you were told if you let me in you would be fired." Suki looked shocked, and Sakura, who had came back down the stairs, froze as she heard this, and Suki asked, "How did you find out about that?" Naruto said, "I heard your boss tell you that day, so I never came back to make sure you didn't get fired, since I had found out from Sakura that your husband had died and you needed the income." Suki looked down and said, "Well, Hokage-sama has recently did a cleaning of the library and I am now the head of the library. I think you had something to with that now that I think about it." Naruto said, "Who knows? I'm still trying to figure a few things out. That's why I'm with Tenten here. She's not afraid to put me in my place." Tenten said, "Or shove a kunai up your ass," in a low voice, causing Suki to chuckle. Suki smiled and said, "Well, my offer still stands. If you need anything, please let me know." Naruto thought a moment and said, "Actually, there is something you might be able to help me with. It's not really important, more like a personal hobby that you might be able to help me with." Suki said, "If I can, name it." Naruto said, "In the last 20 years there was a revolt in Snow Country. The king's brother killed the king and the king's daughter Kiyuki Kazuhana escaped with aid from Konoha. At the time of the revolt, the king of Snow was working on a lot of technology to help his country. My godmother, Tenten aunt, was one of the workers who worked on some of that, and she's passed on some of her knowledge on the technology, inventions and machines created at that time, and Tenten and I are trying to figure it all out. If you happen to come across anything concerning Snow Country, the royal family, or just general technology, could you let us know? It's not important, I just meant if you happen to come across something as you putting books away or something." Suki said, "Sure, that's not a problem. Anything else?" Naruto said, "Not that I can think of, but can you keep it between the four of us? I don't want people to get too interested in it and try to steal my godmother's work or something we come up with." Suki looked back when Naruto said four and said, "Sure, that's no problem. You ready to go, dear?" Sakura said, "Yeah, Mom, I guess Naruto already told you." Suki nods and Sakura said, "I'm ready when you are." Naruto said, "Great, let's go because I still want to spend a little time with Tenten later," as he nods to Suki and leaves. They quickly make it through the village and up to the Hokage Tower, and when they got there the secretary said, Naruto-sama, please go on in." Naruto nods and opens the door, and the Sandaime quickly puts away his pink book as his Kijibunshin did the paperwork, and Naruto said, "Pervert." The Sandaime cleared his throat and slipped the book in a drawer and said, "What can I do for you three today?" Naruto walked forward and put his hands on the Hokage desk and said, "I need you to do something for me and it's not negotiable, Gigi." The Sandaime frowned and said, "That is." Naruto said, "Sakura, I want you to set her up as an apprentice at the hospital to learn to be a medic nin. With her photographic memory and perfect chakra control, she could be the next Tsunade." The Sandaime said, "Really? And why do you believe that?" Naruto said, "Give her a test. Have a doctor give her a book on medic or human anatomy and give her a week to read it, and she will pass any test over that book she reads. If you gave her the tree climbing exercise, she would get it on her first try. I know she has small chakra reserves, but I believe she has the will to work hard to show everyone her true strength and work hard to improve herself, and as a medic she could save the lives of countless of our ninja and civilians." The Sandaime said, "While you do make a very good argument, I can't take the word of a genin without some kind of proof, as well as hearing it from Sakura that this is what she wants." Sakura got a determined look in her eyes as she saw Tenten and Naruto looking at her with faith in her, and she said, "I want this, Hokage-sama. I want to prove that I am not a weak little girl but a strong kunoichi of the Leaf Village. The Sandaime looked at Sakura for several moments and said, very well. Tomorrow you are to report to the hospital at 7 a.m. at the main desk and ask for someone named Kabu. Naruto quickly slammed a book he had picked up off the bookshelf on the desk, startling everyone, and Naruto said, anyone but Kabuto. The Sandaime frowned and said, Sakura, Tenten, can you please leave us alone for a moment? Both girls nodded and left, and the Sandaime shot a glare at Naruto and said, while I admit I made some mistakes in the past with how I handle things, I will not be dictated by a genin how to run my village. You will show me proper respect and follow my orders. Do I make myself clear? Naruto glared back and said, Crystal, but let me give you a little info first before you go all high and mighty. The reason I don't want Sakura around Kabuto is because he smells of snake, and I don't mean the smell you get from hanging around Anko. I mean he smells of snake and blood as well as something else that I can't identify. Kabuto may be a genin who has failed the genin exams 6 times in a row already, which should throw up a few flags, but he has Junin level chakra and medic nin chakra control. Something about him is not right, and I'm not sure if what I believe is true or not, but if I'm right, I do not want to put someone like Sakura under the control of someone who might be working for a former student of yours. Now bust my balls if you want to for disrespecting you, but maybe you should have the same Anbu that I outrun and the interrogation department who spend all day water flowers and drinking sake to do a closer inspection on strange things around our village. After all, hasn't security already shown that it's defective Hokage-sama? The Sandaime frowned and said, are you sure Kabuto smells of snake? Naruto said, yeah, it's one of the things that I found strange about him. The Sandaime asked, what else did you find strange? Naruto said, why would a genin be writing down mission records on not only genin but also picture IDs, bloodlines, allergies, blood type, and other things like that onto his personal nin info cards when most of that info besides mission records are on patient paperwork? The Sandaime frowned, and a voice that made both Naruto and the Sandaime freeze said, he makes a pretty good argument, father, causing both to turn to the window and see Tsunade standing there with a glare on her face. Both Sarutobi and Naruto said at the same time, oh shit. Sarutobi looked at Tsunade and said, Tsunade, how nice to see you again, what brings you here? Tsunade pointed toward Naruto and said, I was in a bar a couple of miles away yesterday when I overheard a conversation between him and some girl. Are you really my father? Sarutobi sighed and said, yes. Tsunade put her fist on the desk and asked, why didn't you ever tell me? Sarutobi started to say something when his voice was heard from the side, and both turned to see Sarutobi talking to Naruto in the hospital bed as he explained the events around his relationship with Tsunami Senju. When it was over, Tsunade was clenching her fist and said, where's Danzo? Sarutobi said, dead along with Homaru and Koharu. Tsunade glared at him and then looked at Naruto and after a few moments said, you look like your father and your uncle Nawaki. I'm Tsunade, your aunt. Naruto said, how much did you hear of that conversation yesterday? Tsunade said, not as much as I would like, since it wasn't until you mentioned Nawaki and my mother name did I use a jutsu to sober up. What were you doing all the way over there when you're injured? Naruto frowned and said, damn it, how can you tell I'm still injured? Tsunade snorts and said, I saw you favoring your side yesterday. Now talk. Naruto glared at her and said, don't think you can just walk into my life and tell me what to do. I've been taking care of myself nearly my entire life and been through more shit than you would believe. Tsunade said, I heard about your pissing contest with Uchiha Madara. Was that real? Sarutobi said, yes, he actually killed Uchiha Madara. Tsunade glared at him and said, shut up you. I'm a half a heartbeat from tearing your head off and shoving it up your ass. Do you have any idea how many nights I cried myself to sleep as a little girl wishing for my father, or how many dreams of my future I had to give up, like the dream of my father walking me down the aisle on my wedding day? You have had 30 plus years to tell me, and you never once mentioned that I was your daughter or that I had a younger brother and a nephew who needed me. Just then the door to the office opened up and Riku walked in, and the Sandaime said, do you mind? This is an importer. Riku said, shut up you old monkey. You got a couple of visitors that you might want to meet with. Elder Chio from Suna along with Temari, Kankuro and Gaara from Suna. Naruto eyes got wide and said, they're here, but why? Sarutobi said, Naruto, is this your sister? Naruto nods and Tsunade asked, sister? Naruto looked at Riku and asked, "Is this your doing?" Riku said, "Actually no. I saw them at the gate and brought them here quickly." Tsunade narrowed her eyes as she looked at Riku and Sarutobi said, "Well, can you tell him to come in?" Riku nods and leaves the room and Tsunade said, "Something's not right about that woman." Sarutobi asked, "What do you mean?" Before Tsunade could answer, the door opened again and the Suna Sibs along with Chio and Riku walked in, but Chio was looking at Riku and said, "What are you, girl?" Tsunade said, "That's what I'm wondering as well." Chio turned to that voice and frowned, and as she glared at Tsunade and said, "Hello, flat chest. Still playing with fake breast?" Tsunade glared at her and said, "Hello, sandwich. Still playing dress up with your dolls?" Both women got into a defensive stance and the Sandime said, "Enough, both of you. There will be no fighting in my office. Do I make myself clear?" Chio frowned and looked around the room and said, "So you're the boy who defeated Madara Uchiha?" Naruto said, "That's right. How do you know about that?" Chio said, "Word spreads pretty quickly, Senju. I wouldn't be surprised if they were knocking on the gates soon to get their hands on you." Naruto looked at Gaara and said, "So what are you doing here, you old hag, and what's with the Sibs?" Chio said, "Show respect to your elders, brat." Naruto snorts and said, "Not a chance in hell, lady. You want my respect, you have to earn it, and from what I've seen and heard, you are the last person I would respect." Kankuro said, "Show Elder Chio respect, kid, before I pound your face in." Naruto started to say something when Riku said, "Enough," as she unleashed enough ki to make everyone but Naruto and Gaara to flinch. After she stopped, the Sandime said, "Don't do that again, Riku. You should not even be here right now, considering you're not even a ninja." Riku said, "I won't leave Naruto's side until Gaara's seal is fixed," causing the Suna Sibs to flinch and Gaara to glare at her. Sarutobi, seeing the situation, said, "Enough. Now why are you here?" as he looked at the Suna nins. Chio frowned and shot a look at Temari, who was looking at everyone in the room before she locked eyes with Sarutobi and said, "You know what rare commodity I have with me here, Hokage-sama. I know you most likely want to get your hands on the item in question, correct?" Sarutobi frowned and Naruto said, "If you're going to talk about my sister as a piece of property, you senile old bitch, then you better drop the code talking and speak with me, because I am the current head of the family you need to talk to. Not the Senju and not the Sarutobi." Chio glared at Naruto and Temari asked, "What are you all talking about?" Naruto said, "Your mother was a brunette, Kazekage a redhead. How are you a blonde?" Answer is simple. Old windbag here had her grandson Sasori kill the Sandime Kazekage so the Yondaime could take over, and he kidnapped your mother for her bloodline that you have when she was pregnant with you. Your real father is the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze, my father. You're my half-sister and your brothers are my step-brothers." All three Suna Sibs' eyes got wide and they looked at Chio, who was glaring at Naruto, and Temari asked, "It's not true, is it?" Chio, who was clenching her fist, said, "I should kill you, boy, but if I did so then my family would be most likely destroyed." Most of what he said is true. The only part that is left out of what he said is, "The reason I was involved is because in exchange for me supporting the Yondaime for his position of Kazekage, then he would acquire a woman for me to impregnate to continue my family after my grandson Sasori turned himself into a puppet. I did not know that she was already pregnant with you until I had already named him Kazekage. The boys here, Gaara and Kankuro, are in fact the sons of my grandson Sasori that I acquired from Sasori Lab, where he conducted his human puppetry at and he discarded his organic for wood. It was to protect Gaara and Kankuro I was forced to seal Shukaku into Gaara, or the Yondaime would have all three of you executed. I could care less for you, girl, but you a ransom for me to ensure the protection of my grandsons here. I have already gave you a special poison that can't be detected, and unless you are given a cure in the next 12 hours you will die," making everyone in the room wide-eyed. Tsunade had Chio against the wall in a matter of moments and was glaring at her and said, "Give me the antidote." Chio said, "Not until we come to an agreement. The Yondaime was planning to assassinate all three of them in order to keep the truth from coming out, and is already sending word to Iwa to form an alliance with them to destroy Konoha to keep his position of power. You can't kill me, because if you do, you know the girl will die, since you know how deadly my poisons are, and you know you don't have time to find and make a cure, so here's the deal. I give you the cure in exchange for you letting my grandsons create a Akasuna clan here in Konoha, and you will give them all rights as any other clan. I will serve as head of the clan until I die, and you will protect them from this Akatsuki group I heard about. My brother is already dead and I doubt I will ever see my grandson again. I don't care about my life, but I do not want to see my family die. In exchange you get the girl's life. Temari, who had tears in the corner of her eyes, said, I trusted you, Chio. How could you do this to me? Chio said, show some respect in yourself, girl. You are a kunoichi. Your life and body are a commodity to be used by your village. Your mother was used just as you are. I used your mother to make my great-grandsons, and I used you to keep your mother from leaving the village the same way I am now. If she had left the poison I slipped into your formula and food as a child would have killed you in a week. Naruto pulled out a kunai and walked over to Temari, who was watching Tsunade, Chio and her, and since nobody noticed him he grabbed Temari's hand and sliced it open, making her scream as everyone looked at her. Naruto had already cut his hand as well, and Temari jumped back holding her hand and she screamed, what the hell are you doing? Glaring at Naruto, who turned and using his other hand sliced Kankuro, cutting his arm and getting some of his blood in his other hand. Naruto ignored her and looked at Riku holding his hand steady and said, well. Riku said, stand by, match, poison known as Silent Night. Ingredients, grassroots, web sling poison, night orchid, asp venom and nightshade. Cure ingredients, lotus blossom, bee honey, and venom from a daddy long-legged spider. Chio was pale as she asked, how did you figure it out so quick? Naruto, who saw Tsunade was frozen in place seeing the blood, walked over and slapped her, and while screaming, snap out of it you drunk bitch and save my sister's life. Tsunade decked Naruto through the roof as she moved and went over to Temari and said, I'm going to kill your other brother when I catch him later. As her hand glowed with green chakra healing the wound and on Temari's hand, who was looking around the room in a state of shock, and Chio, who was trying to stand up, found a kunai at her neck from the sandime. Kankuro reached for his puppet on his back only to find a chakra saber from Riku pointed at his neck as her hand glowed green and she began to heal his arm. Gaara looked around the room and shushed to the roof where Naruto was starting to stand up, and he said, you're strong. Mother wants your blood, as the cork on his gourd shot out at Naruto. Naruto thought, shit, not again, as he jumped into the air and began to float and said, come on, follow me where we won't be disturbed, as he began to fly away toward the Chunin Stadium. Once he landed, Gaara, who had been following him on a bed of sand, also landed, and Gaara said, I shall give mother your blood. Naruto said, not today, as he raised one of his arms and fired a senbon at the wall, causing it to explode, and water began to spray out of the wall, and Naruto shot several senbons at Gaara, whose sand shield blocked them as Naruto ran to the water already flashing through hand signs and said, hidden mist no jutsu. As the arena filled up with mist, Gaara said, why do you hide? Are you afraid of death? Naruto thought, are you ready, Eva? Eva said, yes, just get me close. Naruto nods and he pulls out the remote ball and looking at his inferred through the remote ball near Gaara, which created a Kijbunshin, who grabbed the remote ball and threw it closer while the real Naruto jumped into the air above the mist. When he got there he began to gather chakra into his thrust cannon. Gaara, who had closed his eyes, was using his third eye jutsu to look for Naruto, saw as he appeared in the air and began to gather chakra, and Gaara sent his sand at Naruto. Naruto screamed, now, as he flew higher into the air as the sand chased him. Inside the mist the Kijbunshin that Eva created began to flash through hand signs, and having the info from Riku on the proper chakra level to use, said, water style, water dragon no jutsu. As a water dragon formed out of the mist and began to charge at Gaara. In the air Naruto saw the sand stop and start flying back at Gaara, and he raised his arm and fired the thrust cannon at the sand that was going back down, destroying the sand as the water dragon slammed into Gaara, taking out his armor of sand and slamming him into the wall. At that moment the remote ball turned into Eva, whose hands began to glow, and she screamed, 5-star seal, slamming the seal into the seal on Gaara's chest, making him scream before passing out. Naruto landed near her and Tenten came running onto the field huffing for air and said, I got the sealing ink, what the hell happened here, as she saw the damage to the wall and the hole in the ground from the thrust cannon, and Gaara passed out. The Kijbunshin grabbed the ink and took it over to Eva, who began to draw the seal she recorded Jiraiya putting on Gaara in the first time line. Naruto sighed and thought, just another day in my crazy life. The crazy old bitch poisoned Temari and used her for ransom because Gaara and Kankuro are actually her great-grandsons and they're the children of Sasori, not the Kazekage. After I nearly died from a food allergy, Eva started recording and cataloging every poison and spice she could. Because of Suna betraying us, they had to give away a lot of information and jutsu to have peace between our villages. In the peace negotiations was Chio's latest poisons, including the one she used on Temari. Riku told me she also got poisons from Konoha and the Hidden Mist village somehow in her memory, and creating a chemical analyzer as part of my new updates to make sure I don't get food poisoned again made it where she was able to analyze Temari blood and used my blood as a base along with Kankuro to get a match on her mother and dad's blood to help find the poison faster. Tenten slapped her head and they heard Eva say, 5-star release, as both turned and saw her finish putting a new seal on Gaara before she went up in smoke. Naruto walked over and grabbed the remote ball and looked at the clone and said, grab Gaara and come on, as he grabbed Tenten's hand and began to head back toward the Hokage Tower. When they got to the Hokage Tower, they found Chio was being held by Anbu as Tsunade moved her hand away from Temari. Naruto said, well, as he came in. Everyone looked at him and then the Tsunanin's eyes got wide seeing Gaara asleep and Temari said, what did you do to him? Naruto said, fixed his seal the way it should have always been so he can sleep and not have him going crazy from Shukaku after having some brotherly bonding. So were you able to cure the poison? Tsunade glared at him and said, yeah, but I want to know how were you both able to do that? I know somehow you were able to identify the poison and somehow she was able to tell how to cure it. How did you do that? Riku said, when I was gathering info on Naruto I discovered someone learned he had a food allergy that thanks to him having the QB inside him is fatal. To protect him from dying I gave him a chemical analyzer that can break down any item in a matter of seconds. I also have been working on medical library of herbs, poisons and medications and I have information on several poisons from the Hidden Mist and some I was able to buy from illegal operations that I acquired from my hostile takeover of Gato shipping. Some were poisoned. Several high-ranking individuals in Suna was willing to sell info on them in exchange for some other items. The one Chio used was one of them. Kankuro said, but why did he cut us? Naruto said, because I knew I couldn't cut Gaara because of his sand armor and sand defense, so I had to cut you to get a sample of your mother's blood and cut myself to get a sample of my father's blood, and by analyzing them and Temari blood Riku was able to quickly pull everything apart in Temari blood so we could properly cure the poison. I'm not going to trust my family life to some woman who has no guarantee she will cure Temari after she gets what she wants. Tsunade stood up and said, what the hell were you thinking slapping me like that, brat? Naruto said, hemophilia. You're afraid of blood. I saw you frozen in fear and you were the only one I could trust to save Temari life. Temari said, but why do you care what happens to me? Will someone please explain what is going on here? Naruto turned to her and said, your father was the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. I can make a blood seal with my blood and have you open it all day long, or we can take any medical test you want, but you will find that we both have the same father and different mother. Your mother was originally a whirlpool ninja who escaped from there before Uchiha Madara destroyed their village, and she came to Konoha along with my mother and my uncle. The Yondaime Kazekage kidnapped your mother when she was pregnant with you, and from listening to the old hag over there it appears that you were used as ransom to keep your mother from fleeing sooner. She used your mother as breeding stock to make her great-grandson Gaara and Kankuro, who like me are your half-brothers, same mother but different father in their case. It appears the Yondaime Kazekage decided to blackmail Chio into sealing Shukaku into Gaara. I guess with the events that happened here in Konoha where Madara Uchiha told how he was the mastermind behind your mother being kidnapped and the way word spread, the Kazekage decided to eliminate you three before anyone could do a blood test on you before they accuse him of being responsible for the Sandaime Kazekage deaths. That about sum it up. Sarutobi said, mostly except for the fact that you left out that Tsunade here is Temari aunt, and I am her grandfather on her father's side and she has a half-uncle and a cousin. Temari looked down and said, I don't know what to think. Naruto said, welcome to my world. I've only got about a month of this and every day it seems like something new is added on. You got off lucky. I also got an uncle who is the feudal lord of Lightning Country as well, who I never knew about, and I only just recently found out I got the fucking QB sealed in me by our father, and until I killed Madara Uchiha basically 75% of the village hated my guts and feared me for it, and thanks to Gramps over there who passed a law I wasn't even allowed to know why everyone hated my guts. Tsunade said, I got you both beat. I just found out after 50 plus years of life that he is my father and I had a baby brother I never knew about. My fiance was killed. My middle brother was betrayed and killed because of an enemy of my father who knew sensei was my dad, and a niece that my greatest rival just tried to kill, and a nephew who got something that looks like a woman that's not even human claiming to be my nephew's godmother, basically enjoying the show. What the hell are you? You look human, but the way your chakra flows makes it appear like you're a puppet. Riku said, basically I am. The reason I am creating a database for medicines and poisons is because I was poisoned and my body was giving out. In order to save my life, I basically built a machine that operates like a puppeteer runs a puppet to surround my body and keep me alive. It filters my air, food, water to sustain my life as long as my organs that are inside of this can keep me alive and I can continue to make chakra. I will never show how I did it, and this body has a self-destruct so no one can learn it either. Now if you don't mind, can we figure out what to do about this mess? At this everyone turned to the Sandaime and said, well. The Sandaime thought, I'm too old for this shit. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.